For generations, we've been told a simple story about human history. We were either innocent children in an egalitarian paradise, or brutal, selfish savages fighting for survival. Hobbes. This monumental book, The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity, shatters that simplistic narrative, offering startling implications for how we understand our past and our future. Authors David Graeber and David Wengrow reveal that almost everything we thought we knew about the origins of farming, cities, democracy, and inequality is profoundly misleading. Before we dive into these revolutionary discoveries, if you want to understand the true, complex, and exciting story of human creativity and how it changes the way you think about politics today, hit that subscribe button. This book fundamentally transforms our understanding of the human past, and you won't want to miss this deep dive into its most important ideas. Segment 1. Rewriting Our Human Story, From Primitive to Playful. The central finding, drawn from massive new research in archaeology and anthropology, is that our distant ancestors were far from primitive or simple. The world of hunter-gatherers was, in reality, a carnival parade of political forms, full of bold social experiments. People spent millennia intentionally moving in and out of drastically different social systems, constructing hierarchies only to dismantle them again, often along predictable seasonal lines. This capacity for political self-consciousness and collective self-creation is revealed as the real definition of what makes us human. Segment 2. The Myth of the Fall. Inequality didn't have to happen. The traditional narrative insists that the invention of agriculture inevitably led to private property, cities, and the total loss of freedom. But the authors show that this assumed evolutionary path is false. For thousands of years after cultivation began, farming was often play farming, deliberately adopted only partially, as communities resisted full commitment to maintain their liberties and diverse food webs. Crucially, the growth of complex social organization did not automatically result in hierarchy. Many of the world's first cities, such as Uruk in Mesopotamia, or the immense settlements of the Indus Valley and the Ukrainian megasites, were organized along robustly egalitarian lines for centuries, managing massive logistical challenges without permanent ruling classes or kings. Segment 3. Indigenous Wisdom versus European Arrogance. If the history we were taught is wrong, where did those flawed narratives come from? The book demonstrates that modern ideas about social evolution emerged in the 18th century as a conservative reaction to powerful critiques raised by indigenous intellectuals like the Wendat statesman Candia Runk. Candia Runk and others openly criticized European society for its stark absence of freedom, mutual aid, rampant competition, and blind submission to authority, qualities they considered unnatural and ridiculous. This profound philosophical exchange, known as the indigenous critique, was a colossal influence on early Enlightenment thinkers. Later European society, unable to refute these ideas honestly, countered by creating the linear, progressive myth of civilization to dismiss indigenous voices as merely primitive. Segment 4. The Real Mystery. How We Got Stuck. The fundamental challenge this book poses is a complete shift in historical inquiry. Instead of asking, where did inequality begin, we must ask, how did we get stuck in rigid, fixed systems of hierarchy and domination? Our ancestors consciously exercised 3 core freedoms that defined their adaptability: the freedom to move away from one's surroundings, the freedom to ignore or disobey commands, and the freedom to create entirely new social realities or switch between them. The rise of permanent domination meant losing this scaffolding of basic human liberties. Segment 5. The Illusions of Power, Cities and States. The book dismantles the idea that complex societies require the state. It shows that the centralized regimes we call modern states are a unique, fragile, and late fusion of 3 elementary forms of domination: sovereignty, control of violence, bureaucracy, control of information, knowledge, and charisma, competitive politics or prestige. Historically, these elements often existed independently. For instance, the Chavin civilization excelled at a knowledge-based, bureaucratic style of power for centuries without visible sovereignty. Conversely, rulers like the Natchez great son held absolute personal power, sovereignty, but barely commanded an administrative apparatus. These first-order regimes revealed that the ultimate form of domination was not an inevitable evolutionary step, but a terrifying conscious combination of these elements. Conclusion: the dawn of everything is still open. The history of humanity is not a story of an irreversible fall, but a story of incredible social creativity and political possibility. The possibility for freedom was not lost long ago. It was suppressed by systems that normalize violence and control. Understanding this lost history of social experimentation is the key to rediscovering our own capacity to shape new and different forms of social reality today. To join the revolution in rethinking history, smash that like button and subscribe.